This episode of TechNewsDay is sponsored by caviar.
Yum. Oh, God, here we go again.
Yeah.
So a weird trend we've been seeing for the last couple of years that simply won't go away and is also more and more low effort with each new iteration has once again returned. First, there was Graham, the horrifying, realistic sculpture of what a human male would look like if our anatomy were designed to be able to survive car accidents, commissioned by the Australian government.
Not only was he peak human performance and looks, turns out he would end up being the pinnacle of these types of designs.
Yeah. Then there was Alice, another horrifyingly realistic sculpture of the perfectly evolved woman. Still pretty high quality.
Yeah.
And so far, they're putting effort and thought into these freak shows.
Yeah.
But that starts to go by the wayside with Emma, the office worker of the future, designed by the office supply company Fellows to basically scare you into investing in more ergonomic office furniture, but also making the valid point that office work is inherently unhealthy. And then we met Michael, the gamer of the future, at least according to Canadian gambling website Online Casino, who don't seem to understand that there's no need to predict what gamers will look like in 20 years in the year 2020 when video games have already been quite popular for about twice that long.
Yeah, seriously. And we're doing fine, right? We all look and feel healthy.
Yeah.
We don't look that horrible
Yeah.
yet. Maybe it will be a further progression. Well, if you thought the drop-off in quality from Graham to Michael was bad, meet Susan, the future remote worker whose makers, the job application website Direct Apply, couldn't be bothered to even actually build. Susan is 100% CGI, and not even good CGI. She looks like an unused asset from the show Xavier Renegade Angel, or maybe Left 4 Dead's Workshop on Steam.
Yeah.
I mean, they really made her look like The Walking Dead
Yeah,
here.
she does not look like she has long left.
But hey, according to Direct Apply, Susan was created in collaboration with various physical and mental health experts. So you may not like it, but Susan is what working from home will in fact look like 25 years from now.
Damn.
Even though people have worked from home for a very long time.
No, I don't think so. Nope.
Yeah,
Got
so
it.
this probably isn't going to be how people look, but hey, let's just take a look at how Susan ended up the way she is.
So Susan's eyes are bloodshot with dark circles from looking at screens all day.
Certainly no one's been doing that
Yeah.
for 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah, also this has somehow caused increased wrinkles in her face. Her poor posture and lack of exercise has given her a hunched back and neck. Typing all day has given her a repetitive strain in her hands and also, for some reason, big red sores on all of her fingers. Being indoors and away from the sun all day has made Susan lose some of her hair due to vitamin D deficiency, and it's also made her skin look pale and malnourished. Susan's sedentary indoor lifestyle, constant snacking, and lack of exercise has made her obese. And on top of all of that, Susan has increased stress due to going without human contact for long periods. Overall, as you can see, Susan looks like shit.
Did these people from Direct Apply even look at the office worker rendition? Because they're just explaining an office worker minus the stress of driving in and out of the office every day.
Yeah, I think they saw it and they're like, well,
You know, you get a little bit of vitamin D from the sun in the car when you're driving.
let's do our own little spin on this.
Yeah.
Also, our budget is $50.
You know what's really hot right now? It kind of died down for a little bit because of all the actual scaring going on. Scaremongering.
Yeah,
So let's do some of that.
some good old-fashioned scaremonger.
Yeah, I mean, this all feels like it might just be some Reopen America propaganda to get people back to work quickly by painting working from home as unhealthy, but pretty much everything wrong with Susan here, the future remote worker, is also wrong with Emma, like we said. She's just an office worker who has to commute to that horrible lifestyle.
The only difference in their lives.
Susan just happens to be wearing pajama pants, so at least she's more comfortable.
Yeah.
So work at an office and look like Emma, or work at home and look like Susan, or lose your job and go on unemployment and stay home playing video games all day and look like Michael. And all three options are pretty terrible if they were to come true, but luckily they're also pretty much bullshit. And you can easily avoid looking like any of these people by just taking the basic steps to care for yourself.
Yeah.
Like go for a walk.
Go for a walk. Stand up.
Stand
sit
up.
down.
Yeah.
Do basic fucking exercise. Take a shower.
Yeah, that would be good too. Wash the red off your hands.
Get a good night's sleep.
You know what? Go ahead, wash the keyboard every once a
Yeah.
couple of years.
Yeah.
Maybe that. But thanks, DirectApply.com, for the latest in horrifying future human technology. We can't wait for the inevitable next one.
But with the declining quality, the next one's going to be just a stick figure.
When did this become a blob of just nothing?
Yeah, it's just going to be an ugly blob drawn in crayon.
There you go.
Anyways, in other news, real news. Sorry, teenagers, but TikTok might be on the way out.
Oops.
At least according to U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
He preyed on it.
Was on Fox News' Laura Ingraham Fascism Hour this week and said the following in response to being asked if the U.S. might consider banning Chinese apps the way India already has and Australia is considering. Quote, "We are taking this very seriously and we are certainly looking at it. We've worked on this very issue for a long time, whether it was the problems of having Huawei technology in our infrastructure. We've gone all over the world and we're making real progress getting that out. We declared ZTE a danger to American national security. We've done all of these things. With respect to Chinese apps on people's cell phones, I can assure you the United States will get this one right too, Laura. I don't want to get out in front of the president, but it's something we're looking at."
And asked if he'd ever recommend downloading TikTok, Pompeo said, "Only if you want your private information in the hands of the Chinese Communist Party," which, we've been over this. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
This is, before we get into it, TikTok, not a great app.
Not great.
For privacy, for a lot of reasons, but kicking the hornet's nest of angry Zoomers and some millennials on the lower age side of things, probably not the best look right before an election, considering the amount of pull that they claim to have had on just the starting rallies. So,
Yeah.
look, you already know this, but we're not fans of Mike Pompeo.
He's a fucking lunatic.
He probably asked Jesus for advice before making this statement.
Yeah. Will banning TikTok bring us farther or closer to the rapture? Because that's how I make all of my decisions.
Yeah.
I'm Mike Pompeo.
Again, though, he's not completely off base on this one. TikTok is a Chinese app and is basically a clone of Douyin, a hugely popular app in China that parent company ByteDance released a few years earlier over there. And Douyin, like all apps in China, absolutely hands that user data over to the government. But TikTok is also an international company with an American CEO, and like most Chinese companies, TikTok servers and headquarters in China are separate from their international servers and headquarters. And every time this topic comes up, TikTok assures everyone that they would never share your data with the Chinese government. But
we promise.
Again, you can't really trust that.
Yeah.
It seems like a great app to just have a database of everything everyone has done from the 13 years old on up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the app. People keep telling us to do a page on the app. I outright refuse every time.
No.
So
No. First of all, I'm too damn old.
I need the jitterbug.
Me joining TikTok would be like me pulling up to a middle school in my car and
You guys skateboard?
whistling at the kids.
You guys
Not
still
gonna do
skateboard or razor scooter? What are you into these days? Wheelies?
Yeah. But anyways, I mean, when these companies like TikTok say, hey, we're American-based, we're not going to fuck with your data, they might even be telling the truth, at least from their perspective. They could be lying, or they could just be in the dark about all of it.
Yeah.
Because if the Chinese government really wanted that data, they could probably get it pretty easily with or without the cooperation of TikTok's American office here in LA.
Yes.
It would not be hard.
Uh-huh.
Now, no one is entirely sure how much data that is. Consensus seems to be a lot,
Yes.
even compared to other apps. And yeah, people have looked into this. A guy on Reddit reverse engineered it supposedly, but I don't know how accurate that was. But yeah, it's collecting a lot of data all the time. But also, your average smartphone app, Chinese or otherwise, is also collecting a shitload of data about you as well.
Yes.
Constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
But
generally...
at least those are made in America.
Yeah. It's generally not about taking over the world. It's more about just finding out as much about you as possible to sell that information to ad companies. But
Hey, your daughter's pregnant. We sent some diaper coupons.
it is funny seeing people freak out about TikTok while it's like their phone's just loaded with like 400 apps that are all just tracking them constantly.
Absolutely. Now, as you'll recall, a few months back, the U.S. Department of Justice officially blamed the big Equifax hack from 2017 on 4 members of the Chinese military. And it's pretty believable given the long history of Chinese government-sponsored hacking. So, yeah, TikTok could very well be a threat to national security, at least when installed on the phones of some people. And like Mike Pompeo said, the U.S. has previously banned Chinese companies ZTE and Huawei. So this TikTok ban, it could happen. It's not without precedent.
Yeah, I mean,
the way
Trump's going to be throwing out some Hail Mary plays in the coming months.
Yeah.
It's going to get weird.
And the way that he framed it to Laura Ingraham, where he was like, he basically was like, we've already done it, we will do it again.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty threatening.
Yeah. I mean, and also...
I'm just ready for Trump to launch Trump talk.
Yeah, well,
Now, if you're going to send someone your private information, why not the U.S. government?
what really pushes this over the edge into plausibility is the whole narrative around TikTok teens ruining that that rally in Tulsa. So I think like that's what's going to make it real.
And Claudia Conway.
Yeah.
This was never on the radar till Claudia started doing
Do something about this.
Yeah. Her mom immediately stormed into Trump's office and was like, you have to, I don't care what it takes, you have to ban TikTok right now.
I haven't checked on her since the holiday weekend.
I think she privated everything.
Well, she, while it lasted, it was great.
What a nice little 4th of July weekend.
Yeah. Anyway, if TikTok is banned by the U.S. government, well, look, that's the perfect opportunity for a U.S.-based TikTok competitor to step in. You remember Lasso? Facebook's TikTok clone?
Nope.
No, you don't? Yeah, no one does. Because why would you?
Yeah.
It launched back in 2018 as a standalone smartphone app with similar features to TikTok. But it never really caught on. Now's their chance, though. Oh, wait, never mind. Facebook announced last week that they're shutting Lasso down on July 10th. Great timing, Mark.
Perfect.
Though, to be fair, Facebook, they're a big company. They also own Instagram. And as soon as TikTok was banned in India, Instagram launched a TikTok clone there called Reels, but is already available in a couple other countries. So TikTokers can probably look forward to handing over their data to Facebook, a company which, unlike the Chinese government, is known to be very trustworthy with your data. Not.
Yes.
That's a not joke.
Speaking of Facebook, though, Phil Arrigo has a thing or two to say about that recent ad boycott that they're experiencing. But before we toss to Phil, this episode is sponsored by Caviar. You don't feel like cooking tonight? Nah. Many of us don't. Or maybe you just realized you're not very good at it. You keep trying. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Get the Caviar app and get local restaurants delivered right to you. The Caviar app gets you the food that you want. Their curated list of options offers quality meals with the convenience of in-app ordering. There are a lot of delivery apps out there, but Caviar is the go-to place to find local restaurants that can be delivered right to your doorstep.
Caviar is available in over 25 major U.S. cities, and there are plenty of options to choose from. With the Caviar app, you can get the food you actually want, from breakfast tacos to margarita pizza to a falafel sandwich. You can find quality food for whatever you're in the mood for on Caviar. So get the Caviar app, get delivery, get food you want, and just for our viewers, Caviar is offering $10 off an order of $20 or more. All you have to do is put the offer code NEWSDAY, all one word, in at checkout. That's $10 off a purchase of $20 or more with the offer code NEWSDAY. Download Caviar on the App Store or Google Play Store and use the offer code NEWSDAY for $10 off an order of $20 or more.
Now, Phil, tell us about the latest Facebook business.
Yeah, Phil.
Yeah, so Facebook must be wishing it could just go back to hot girl summer, because they've been taking a beating in recent months. I hate origin stories, so let's just breeze through this one. May 28th, amid nationwide protests, the President of the United States of America, a man named Donald Trump, posted this, which ended with the sentence, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts. Thank you." 3 days later, on June 1st, Facebook employees staged a walkout after Mark Zuckerberg refused to flag or remove the post. This is noteworthy because his role at the company was at one point, "I'm CEO, bitch." June 12th, Facebook page that copies President Trump's posts gets flagged for violence when the president's didn't. June 19th, Facebook removes Trump ad over Nazi hate symbol. June 19th, still June 19th, that's correct? Okay. June 19th, Twitter, Facebook remove racist baby video posted by Trump. Two stories from a little over 2 weeks ago, and I can barely remember what the racist baby one was. Can we fast forward here? I'm losing them, man. Racist baby ain't okay. End of June, great. Okay, we're getting closer. End of June, big companies stop advertising on Facebook. Then more companies stop advertising on Facebook. All right, we're caught up. So this is the time when Facebook's going to step up, right? They're going to earn back those big advertising dollars and make this right. So on Tuesday, Zuckerberg met with civil rights groups, and the meeting did not go well. It didn't go good. So I wasn't invited to the meeting. I'm not sure why. But Jessica J. Gonzalez of the advocacy group Free Press was, and she said the company's leaders delivered the same old talking points to try to placate us without meeting our demands. NAACP CEO Derek Johnson, who was also there, said, well, after 2 years of having conversation with the top leadership at Facebook, including Sheryl and Mark, we walked away with the same thing we walked into the discussion with. Nothing. See, that's kind of weird because it sounded like Zuck and the book were taking things pretty seriously. So seriously that at a private company meeting less than 2 weeks ago, he told employees that advertisers will be back to Facebook soon enough. That is the dialogue of an 80s movie mobster who's like, yeah, that dame's gone, but she'll be back soon enough. What is wrong with this guy? Probably a lot, allegedly a lot. I don't know. I've never met him. But it gets worse. In 2018, under mounting pressure due to, honestly, I don't know, but something Facebook had been doing over years and whatever, they agreed to conduct a civil rights audit. Now, present day, July 8th, 2020, they finally released the full audit and Facebook fails its own audit over civil rights and hate speech decisions. This 89-page bad boy looks like a term paper that no one wanted to write, and it's full of everything we already knew about Facebook. One highlight includes, the auditors believe that Facebook should do everything in its power to prevent its tools and algorithms from driving people toward self-reinforcing echo chambers of extremism, and that the company must recognize that the failure to do so can have dangerous and life-threatening real-world consequences. If this sounds vaguely familiar, you may have seen it with YouTube in 2018 when they got called out for having an algorithm that suggested videos that push viewers toward extremism. So the issue here is that the human psyche would rather fight or get angry with what it sees online instead of just seeing happy videos or loved ones or, agreeing with people. YouTube and Facebook know this and have ignored warnings that, it's not good for society despite it being good for their revenues. Facebook has been a troubled company going back to when it just was an idea in the head of college students. I remember watching The Social Network and rooting for Zuck against those stuffy old heads. Remember, they were trying to keep him down. You're like, yeah, guy, you go. And then I rooted for his awkward ass when he was giving awkward, sweaty interviews and popping up on SNL. He was doing the rounds, but I don't know, maybe I got older and wiser, or more likely, after seeing a decade of countless news stories on Facebook, or its policies, or its negative contribution to society, I just realized it's bad. Every story about them is bad. Except for the ones where he and his wife will supposedly, because they pledged to donate all of their Facebook shares, and you can track what philanthropic gestures they're making with their foundation's website, but the problem is Zuckerberg and Facebook are doing immeasurable amounts of damage to society, privacy, and the literal brains of human beings. We're all being cross-tracked on every website we go to because of Facebook. Hate groups use their site to organize and spread their message while Facebook profits from them directly, and its mere existence has a negative effect on mental health. So after the endless barrage of bad deeds they claim are bugs or accidents or mistakes that they'll learn from, Mark Zuckerberg donates millions of dollars to make it go away. It's classic abuser behavior, and the cycle keeps repeating itself because Facebook is so big, they're going to be very difficult to stop. This is another thing NAACP CEO Derek Johnson said after that Facebook meeting. Here's the problem we have. We have a company where shareholders cannot hold them accountable because one person owns 67% of the stock. The board of directors cannot hold them accountable. The ad dollar revenue, although effective with this campaign, only makes up about less than 10% of the total revenue. There's no federal or state regulatory infrastructure in place holding them accountable. They have become such a large company, there are no competitors. So we have a problem on our hands. Either they decide to be good corporate citizens to keep communities safe and protect our democracy, or we are looking at a sovereign nation within our nation. That's it. There are no other options. We need to dismantle and take apart Facebook and figure out how to deal with it. That's a rap fact.
All right, thanks, Phil. Anyways, in case Phil wasn't enough for your weekly dose of cynicism, it's now time to talk about that whole pandemic thing and how the U.S. has utterly failed with it. We have actually we've utterly failed at dealing with it. Yeah. We all know this.
It's a great shame.
And as is tradition, let's start the video, or start this topic with a video clip of some recent covidiocy, with this one featuring a man at a Costco in Fort Myers, Florida, who was asked by another customer to put on a mask.
You're 6 feet away from you.
You're harassing me.
I'm not harassing you. You are infecting us. You're coming close to me. You're coming close to me.
Back up!
Dad.
Threaten me again!
Dad.
Back the fuck up or your fucking phone down!
sir.
So yeah, I mean, just when you see someone coming at you with a 1776
I feel threatened.
T-shirt,
Yeah.
you know you're in for a treat. So yeah, we're averaging around or over 50,000 new cases per day over the last week. Florida alone hit a new record on July 4th with over 11,000 new cases. God bless America. More than half of what the entire country was just averaging just a month ago.
Yeah.
So they're
Great.
really killing it, literally down there in Florida.
Yeah.
But simply being asked to wear a goddamn mask at the supermarket, it's still the most threatening thing in the world to some people.
I feel threatened.
Yes.
I feel threatened. I feel threatened.
More and more, we are having more and more friends who their families or they themselves are getting it. So this is still very much happening and still very much affecting a lot of people. So,
But I drove by Barney's Beanery today and...
wait, that's still in business?
Yeah.
Well, not business, but they have people
The
there?
patio is packed.
No.
Yes.
Wow. I thought we rolled that back. I guess Burbank is its own city and it has its own ordinances, I guess.
I guess so. Anyways, meanwhile, our president, Donald J. Trump, announced this week that the U.S. is formally withdrawing from the World Health Organization, the UN agency responsible for studying global health trends and allowing countries to coordinate on major public health issues like, for example, pandemics.
Yes.
So it seems like a not great move, especially right now, and even some members of Trump's own party think it's a terrible idea, despite still being critical of the WHO. But the process of withdrawing is going to take at least a year, and this is an election year, of course, so just add that to the big pile of shit that is very much on the line in this 2020 presidential election.
Do you see Joe Biden's dumb gun policy?
I try to avoid thinking about Joe Biden.
Only rich people can have cool guns.
Oh, is that? Well, I mean, that's already kind of how it is with fully automatic ones.
So he's doing like a $200 tax plan on assault weapons and stuff like that, and doing a buyback program for everyone else. Just like, great, this might be worse than what we already have. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, way to go, Joe. I guess I have to vote for you. Stamp, blah, walk out, sad. Anyways, to compare our current situation here to another country that has gone about things differently and had very different results, let's check in with the Kiwis down in New Zealand.
New Zealand.
The disease there has pretty much been completely eliminated, despite Dave Oshry living there.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
And despite this overwhelming success, New Zealand's health minister resigned in shame last week.
Oh my gosh.
Why? Well, it came out that 2 visitors from Britain were allowed entry into New Zealand in early June to visit a dying parent and were granted special exemption from quarantine to attend the funeral. But, surprise, it turns out they had COVID.
Yeah, so this became a huge national scandal over there. So the health minister, whose department approved that exemption, he stepped down. I mean, it is an oopsie.
A big one.
You might say a big oopsie. But compared to the level of oopsies that we've been dealing with over here for the last 4 months, it is laughably small. It's just weird seeing people take responsibility
Here in
for
America,
their failings.
Here in America, our teachers cough in the faces of babies.
Yeah, New Zealand also this week arrested and they plan to press formal charges against a guy who left mandatory quarantine for 20 minutes to go to a local supermarket, which again, another huge scandal over there, national news.
Yes.
And yeah, all these things should be scandals, but it's just so funny observing them from over here where
you just drove by a bar that was packed with people?
And just like accountability and personal responsibility during this pandemic here in the U.S., non-existent.
No.
No one gives a shit. No one's getting in trouble for not giving a shit. It's just something that's happening to us. The Trump administration, last week, they're basically just like, yeah, you're on your own. Figure it out.
Nothing like personal responsibility and
show must
rugged
go on.
individualism to clash in the American public.
Yeah.
Just like, I do whatever the fuck I want, but also, I'm not even going to be safe.
Yeah.
Because fuck the government.
Fuck the government.
Yeah. Anyways, back to Florida for a second. Walt Disney World is still planning on opening back up on Saturday. So that'll be a cool experiment, I guess. This is all while the state of Florida is experiencing their worst COVID-19 numbers in the entire 4 months since Disney World first closed down. Disney World is, of course, taking plenty of precautions, like making people wear masks. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of fights coming out of Disney World in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, I can't wait.
I
feel so bad for
no
everyone
longer the
there.
happiest place on earth.
No.
But even plenty of Disney World employees, cast members, think this whole reopening thing is terrifying and probably not worth it. So I guess we'll see. The cast members themselves, based on the photos that were appearing online, they're not even taking the restrictions. They did like the cast member day.
Yeah.
And they're all just like crammed together. They're wearing their masks, but they are not social distancing at all. And some would say it would be an impossible task to monitor that many people in a theme park and also require them to do certain
it's
things.
impossible, especially, people are going to be walking around drinking water. It's
Taking their
fucking
bath.
100 degrees outside.
100% humidity too in Florida.
It's like the worst time of year to visit Disney World, but I imagine they're going to do great on opening day. I imagine there's going to be a line out the fucking door.
Well, that's the thing too, is like they're abiding by the rules of like minimized capacity.
Yeah.
But even that minimized capacity is still very significant when you consider that like, I mean, it's full all the time, but like 30% of the year, it has that many people in it anyway.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people, especially when you have to social distance for lines for everything, because the whole park is just lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Are you bad enough, dude, to go to fucking Disneyland in the middle of a pandemic? Let's see.
We'll see.
Anyway, speaking of Florida, the NBA has started sending players over to their little NBA bubble in Orlando for that mini season that's set to begin at the end of the month. And players might already be regretting that whole thing, at least based on images of the meals that they've been served that have been shown on social media. Does not look good. Basically airline food.
Yeah.
So, not the lap of luxury they're used to. Meanwhile, Major League Soccer, the MLS, they're also restarting in their own Florida bubble right now. But
The first game is right now, and it's the two Florida teams, Orlando and Inter Miami.
Yeah. Wasn't supposed to be the first game, though, because so far things have not gotten off to a great start.
No.
FC Dallas, they just backed out of the whole tournament entirely due to multiple positive tests in their team and, their back room and whatnot. Nashville postponed a match because of multiple positive tests, and Toronto FC had to reschedule a game due to international travel delays. It took them a little longer to get down here.
We won't be allowed back.
All of our families are just basically saying goodbye forever.
Also, on a more personal note, LAFC is facing off against the Galaxy in like a week or so, but Carlos Vela isn't playing. So what? The whole thing is a giant asterisk. It doesn't even matter. So why are you even doing it?
Yeah.
It's dumb. And if the Galaxy beats us, it's not our fault this time because Vela's not playing.
Is he out of the country? Is that why? Or
no, his wife's pregnant, and he's his wife's pregnant, and he also doesn't want to go there and get the virus and live in a bubble away from his pregnant wife.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Diego Rossi has a lot of work to do.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Anyways, another coronavirus sporting news. Teams and leagues are still figuring out ways to add a crowd ambiance to games with no real crowd. I'm sure it's very weird being in the actual stadium if you're like a ref or something. Just the awkward silence.
You blow the whistle and it just
zooms around. We've already talked about teams putting cardboard cutouts of fans in the stands, including Oops, Osama bin Laden. The one stadium. Oops, all bin Ladens. Yeah. Why is Captain Crunch running this? They've also been filled with sex dolls on occasion, which is another oopsie. But over in Japan, they recently tried something a bit different for a baseball game by featuring a bunch of dancing robots in the stands, Boston Dynamics spot robots with little baseball caps and flags, plus SoftBank's humanoid pepper robot. They all joined together for a very surreal choreographed dance.
Oh, feels just like the old days.
Meanwhile, Yamaha is testing out a new app technology that would allow fans watching games at home to tap a button to cheer, applaud, or start a chant. Fantastic. Apparently, it's been quite well received in Japan because dead silent sports games, obviously not a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting idea.
Yes.
Yeah. What was that DJ?
People are just going to scream the N-word. The 4chan's going to get a hold of it. And
I don't think it's custom sound.
You just press a button?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's better.
What was that Mixify website where you could DJ on for a while and
you could tap the buttons and have
cheers.
people. Yeah.
So it's like that, but like in an actual arena with like the speakers shouting out the cheers that people are choosing. All right.
And a bunch of robots waving pennants. Great.
Anyways, that's enough COVID news for now. In some actual good news, there's a new video codec on the way that could mean much less data-hungry streams of 4K and 8K video. The German company Fraunhofer, who were involved in the development of H.264, H.265, and MP3, announced this week that H.266 is on its way.
The AR-16 is right around the corner.
And when it arrives, 4K and 8K streams will use half as much data without sacrificing any visual quality, which is great news for Netflix, and anyone who uses Netflix or any video streaming.
Yeah.
Because
this is like what Pied Piper was trying to build?
Yeah, kind of.
Cool.
Middle out compression.
And finally, though, speaking of video streaming, We, of course, have to close with some Quibi news because a day doesn't go by where this company isn't openly mocked, justifiably,
shamed in the media.
on the internet. As we talked about in our previous episode, the free trial period is over, depending on when you signed up for it. It's only pretty much paying customers now, and given how much money Quibi spent on content, $1.75 billion as their initial investment, their original goal was to have around 7.5 million paying subscribers within the first year. Obviously, they would grow exponentially upon that with their amazing offerings. And word of mouth, of course. So how are they doing? Well, no one can know for sure, but according to the analysts at Sensor Tower, there's currently around 72,000 paying Quibi subscribers. In other words, that is $360,000 a month for a platform that cost $1.75 billion. So not great. And to put that into perspective,
what's
because
the math on that? How
it would take them 400 years to pay off the initial investment.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, it's not good at all.
They need to get those numbers up.
Imagine someone handed you $360,000 a year. And you were like, okay, cool.
Sounds like a lot.
Okay, cool. Okay, how much in debt am I? Oh, it's going to take me 400 years. It's going to take 7 or 8 generations of my family to pay back this debt at $360,000 a year.
Was it $360,000 a year or $360,000 a month?
Oh, sorry, a month. Sorry, a month.
It's still going to take a while.
Billions are very big numbers. Sorry, I misspoke. So that's a month, and you're just like, oh, cool. 400 years of this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I wish them the best of luck. Also, we don't know how many of those people are just people who forgot to cancel.
Yeah.
So.
And I can't imagine any of them are like, you know what I want? The ad-free experience, even though there's only an ad after every content piece.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pay the $8. Anyways, it's fucking doomed. We're all watching it die. Who gives a shit? Fuck Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman. They could have retired with pride. Instead, they left with a stain on their entire careers.
Yeah, it's weird.
And they deserve it, too.
Yeah.
They deserve it.
Anyways, that's it for this week's Tech News Day. Be sure to watch our recent videos over here. And stay cool out there.
Yeah, stay cool, all you cool cats and kittens.
It's a hot one.
Sure is. Bye.
Bye.